Chapter 14th. The mate of the Book of Revelation. The Book of Revelation speaks of two distinct periods of time. Revelation 11 mentions a period of 42 months, which is also specified a 1260 days. Again, Revelation 12 mentions another period of 1260 days. Both these periods put together make 84 months, which is 7 years. So, interestingly, the book of Revelation speaks about a period of 7 years divided into two periods of 3.5 years each. Interestingly, the second period of 1260 days is also mentioned as time times and half a time. In Revelation 12 chapter 6 verse, we are told that the woman will be taken care of for 1260 days. Again, the same period is mentioned in the 14th verse as time, times, and half a time. What is meant by time, times, and half a time? As you already know that the period mentioned is 3.5 years, we can safely conclude that a time is 1 year, times is 2 years, and half a time is half a year. How can we know the exact placement of this 7 year period in the scenario of end time events? You will be surprised and excited to discover that the only place in the Holy Scriptures where the expression time, times, and half a time is found is the book of Daniel. So it is imperative that we take the book of Daniel into consideration if we want to understand the book of Revelation. The book of Daniel is recognized by the Bible scholars as the revelation apocalypse of the Old Testament. My respected readers will recollect now that I began this book referring to the question of King Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel. At this juncture, we are again compelled to turn our attention to the book of Daniel. Even our Lord Jesus hinted in his Olivet Discourse that we can never understand the end time events without studying the book of Daniel. In Matthew 24 chapter 3rd verse, the disciples asked the Lord, "What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Answering this question, Jesus foretold many signs of his coming from 5th verse to 14th. After revealing the signs of the end time, suddenly in the 15th verse, Jesus said, "So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing by in the holy place, let the reader understand." Isn't it surprising? Jesus talking about his second coming and mentioning a prophetic book of the Old Testament. Consider what Jesus is teaching us by mentioning the book of Daniel, by talking about the end time events related to the second coming. Indisputably, Jesus is clearly establishing that the book of Daniel is the mate of the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation cannot be understood without the book of Daniel and vice versa. The book of Revelation and the book of Daniel are two witnesses who testify and confirm the truth about the second coming of our Lord. When we try to study the book of Daniel as the second witnesses, along with the book of Revelation, we shall find that the book of Daniel speaks of weeks, which are not periods of 7 days, but period of 7 years. We have found 1 week in chapters 11 and 12 of the book of Revelation. But when you look into the book of Daniel, the apocalypse of the Old Testament actually speaks about 70 weeks. So we are now compelled to study the subject of the prophecy of the